Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday morning edition of Football 24/7, the last practice before the first preseason game on Friday night versus the Baltimore Ravens. This is day 4 of 4, everybody, for the dog days of summer for the Eagles. They had 4 straight practices here, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. It's been a hot couple of days. Johnny Mack will join us in a couple minutes here, probably from the car as he travels down to NovaCare Complex. We will talk to him, get a preview on the day, see what's going on today. I would imagine it's going to be a yellow practice today with the game on Friday, but maybe not. Maybe they ramp it up and go full speed before that game. Curious to see what they do in the preseason game, whether they play a lot of starters, whether they don't. I know there's been some rumblings, and Vic Fangio wants guys to play, and I just think it's an organizational thing that they're not. I'd like to see more people play, but I am not getting my hopes up. Be curious to think what you guys see in the chat, what you guys are thinking on that. Good people in here this morning already. Appreciate all you guys for being in there. Eduardo, James, Twiz, Madness, Suplex City, Quan. What's up, Quan? Stephen J. Patton, South Jersey, Alfredo. A lot of good Daz is in here. Cali Baby's in here. Mr. Perez is in here. What's up, everybody? Appreciate all you guys being here. A lot of good things to talk about with this team. I thought John and I had a great show last night for those who missed Birds 365 last night on our nightcap edition. I know it doesn't work for everybody with the time, the 6 to 8, but it is, we got to do it with the NovaCare stuff and with John getting down there. So I thought we had a great show last night with the depth chart initially coming out. John loved how they finally put that they have a five D lineman on the field. They don't normally do that. And in years past, that's why a lot of people have been thinking it's a 3-4 defense or a 4-3 defense. It's not, and John was pumped to see that they put 2 edge rushers and 3 interior linemen on the depth chart. Nothing really stood out overall to me other than the way they listed the linebackers, which was weird. They did slashes like there's no starter yet. It's been the same 2 guys starting for 9 straight practices, and I would imagine 10 straight after today. So that's interesting. And then the cornerbacks I thought was a little interesting with Slay, obviously. And then at CB2, they had Rogers/Ringo, which was interesting. And then Avonte Maddox back in the slot corner. So I guess that makes sense to me. I said it last night on the show. The only thing that's weird about the slot corner, and I get it. Avonte Maddox has been that guy for us for a couple years when he can stay healthy. But, boy, we've talked about corners a lot. Right? I mean, how much have we talked about corners this offseason, specifically the last 8, 9, 10 weeks since the NFL draft, which I think it was about 10 or 12 weeks ago. We haven't talked about Avonte Maddox at all with that position. I know he's out there, but you're talking Rogers, Ringo, DeJean, all these people, Quinion even's been getting some reps at the 1. So, they put Maddox in there to start, and it's interesting. So the other thing I love about the depth chart is, remember, it's not the coaches that put this together. It is the communications department. So I don't know how much stock you can put in, but they get some input. Obviously, they can't just do it on a whim. But it kind of shows you how they view certain players. You hear about guys moving around, and this kind of gives you a better look at, like, okay, what's going on? Who's going where? Paris Campbell was listed as the wide receiver 3. Tyler Steen was listed as the right guard, the starting right guard, even with his absence recently. So he's been getting back up to speed. Last couple of days, he's been limited at practice. I would imagine he'll be a full go, if not today, I guess after the preseason game. I don't know if he's a guy who will play in the preseason game. Those are the interesting ones, right? With the preseason, it's like Jalen Hurts isn't going to play. AJ Brown's not going to play. But what do you do with Tyler Steen? A guy that's projected to start, but hasn't really started. Do they want to keep him healthy? Probably that's what the Eagles are thinking, but he really hasn't played much. Got to get him out there. So it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Daz says Trotter Jr. will suit up. Maybe he says maybe Trotter Sr. can suit up. Yeah, that would help. That would help, Daz. But no, Trotter Jr. has been a surprise, I think, in camp. John chalks it up that the linebacker play is, it's all the same. which has pros and cons, but I've been excited about Trotter Jr. I kind of wanted to temper my expectations when he was drafted because everybody gets jacked up. His dad was, as good as he was here, and everyone's like, "Oh, we got his son." So he's a 5th-round pick, and I'm like, "Look, let's not put too much pressure on this young man. Let's let him develop." And he's been pretty good in practice. Apparently, it really looks instinctive, and when you see the pictures of him, I think one came out yesterday, and I think it's the thumbnail on the show today. Yeah, it is the thumbnail on the show today with his dad. He looks pretty big. He looks bigger than I thought. So good stuff there, and we'll see, what they're gonna do with him and the entire linebacker position. But nothing else stood out really on the depth chart. Paris Campbell, wide receiver 3, I mentioned. Big surprise, Jalen Hurts, QB1. Just kidding. And then Johnny Wilson was listed as that outside receiver, backup A.J. Brown. So I think, we've been looking for that guy who would be the backup with A.J. Brown, or if Devontae Smith went down, you need a backup guy. You can't just have slot-only guys. And Britton Covey is not going to be your backup outside receiver. Paris Campbell is not going to be your backup outside receiver. So that looks like it's going to be Johnny Wilson. That's either going to be a good thing or a bad thing. I think he's ready. Hopefully, maybe I'm just getting high on the training camp reports of him catching some touchdowns and stuff. But we'll see. He's that big-bodied guy. If you watch his college tape, which I watched a lot of, he's a smooth criminal, man. He can run a route really good for a 6'6", 6'7" guy. So it's not like he's sick. It's not like he's that big and he's clunky. He's pretty smooth. He catches the ball well. He tracks the ball well. He's got a good catch radius, obviously being that big. So I think that's a good option there, and we'll see what he's able to do. As a 6th-round pick, obviously it's an uphill climb, but we'll see what they end up doing. I see some people talking about Justin Simmons in the chat. Is something going on with him? 1 second. Yeah, Perez says, apparently Justin Simmons is visiting the Saints today. We might have to cross him off the board now. I wouldn't get your hopes up, Perez. I don't think the Eagles are worried about that, as Johnny Mack has pointed out. So much for Justin Simmons wanting to win. That's true. I mean, look, I don't think it's all about that. Everybody's like, he doesn't want to do training camp. I'm like, listen, if he got the money, he'd be in training camp. If he got $15 million, he'd be in training camp. So he's not getting the money that he wants, which tells you that 31 other teams plus the Eagles are not willing to give them what they want. So Daz clarifies, says the Saints reached out. We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with Simmons. Like I said, I don't think the Eagles are licking their chops at getting him. So, I don't think they're sitting around like shit. Justin Simmons is getting signed. I don't think they're worried about it. I think they like Reed. I think they like Gardner Johnson. And I think they're good with it. So we'll see what they end up doing at that position. Waiting to talk to John McMullen here in just a couple minutes. He should be joining live from the car. We'll get his update on day 10, everybody. Day 10 of practice goes by quick, doesn't it? August 7th. I would imagine we're 30 days or 29 days or 31 days out from September 6th. Let me look that up. The Eagles will kick 30 days away. So 30 days away from September 6th, the Eagles will kick off in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We talked about that with John last night, and how Brian Gutekunst, the GM of the Packers, was like, yeah, well, at least we don't have to go to Philly. Definitely a loss for us as Eagles fans, to get the Packers, an NFC opponent, a formidable opponent, a playoff probable opponent, and you lose a home game to them versus if you went over to the AFC, no playoff implications and, no tiebreaker implications. So, that's definitely a hit to lose a home game at the Link, which is, one of the best home field advantages in the league, and send that to Sao Paulo, Brazil is obviously not overly ideal. But look, it is what it is. We got to go down there and get the win. It won't matter if we win. So that's what we got to do. But that's a tough opponent. That defense, guys, I mean, it's going to get a good test very early in the season with that. They're a good offense. They were last year. Jordan Love just got paid. He was a good offense. So we'll see what he ends up doing. Daz says that's what his agent told him to say. I don't know, Daz. Think about it, dude. If you're the Packers, would you rather play the Philadelphia Eagles in a neutral location or in the Link? Come on, Daz. You'd rather play him in a neutral location. Philadelphia is a tough place to play for opposing teams. It's sometimes a tough place to play for our team because we hold them to such a high standard, which is a great thing. I'm not criticizing that. I think it's awesome. But it's a tough place, man. It's tough to come into the link, especially week one. The fans are rowdy, fired up. I mean, and you're going to go out there and you send it to Sao Paulo. That's not great. So maybe he's talking about something different. Sorry, Daz. I thought you were talking about the Packers GM. But yeah, so we're going to end up seeing, 30 days out, pretty close, obviously. Jalen Hurts had another good day. Didn't throw the ball as much yesterday. How about the blitzing yesterday, right? John talked about the blitz, and they were blitzing a lot in practice yesterday. I don't think they're going to become a blitz-heavy team, but, I said to John, is that potentially to help Jalen Hurts? Are they throwing more of that in there to help Jalen Hurts, who struggled with the blitz last year? And, obviously you want to get him reps in practice, but John said probably not, but that's a good way they could look at it. So we'll see, but I think that's good. I think that's good that they're doing blitzing in practice. Eduardo, he did pretty good. He didn't throw the ball much, but I think he only had 11 passing attempts yesterday or 10 passing attempts in practice. But no interceptions, no touchdowns. Another good practice for Jalen Hurts, another good practice for the offense. Isaiah Rodgers continues to get that CB2 reps. He's up to 6 over Keely Ringo, who had 3 straight early. So I think Isaiah Rodgers might end up being that outside cornerback. We'll see. We'll see what happens when DeJean gets back. He should get back, I think, in the next week or so. But that's going to shuffle it, right? Like, do they put Quinion ahead of Isaiah on the outside? What do they do with Keely Ringo? Does DeJean become your slot corner? It's going to be interesting to see what they do with those guys once DeJean gets back. But boy, they got a lot of young corners, man. I mean, they have a lot without DeJean. Then you're going to bring DeJean back. It's like, what the heck are they going to do? Are they going to keep them all? Are they going to lose one of them? Are they going to trade one of them? Ringo and Rodgers. Is there a world where both of them are on the bench? I don't know. So we'll see what they end up doing. Let's go to our man on his way to the arena. Johnny Mack just joins us live from the car. Johnny Mack, do I have you, brother?
Yeah.
I got you. You out there, John? Might have lost John here as he joined. I don't know if he's on the Walt Whitman or what. Let me see if I can get Johnny up. Job, it sounds like I got you back. John, you there? No, not back.
Yeah, you got me?
I got you now. You on the Walt Whitman?
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right, I got you now.
In the process, but yeah, for some reason. Maybe all the storms, who knows?
Yeah, there was power out in the one place, so I had to go to a different place. I'm juggling as well. So good stuff, John. What are you projecting to see today down day 10, John? Last practice of the 4-day run. I think it'll be a little cooler today, obviously, with the storms coming through. But what are you expecting to see down there, day 10 of practice, last practice before the preseason game?
Yeah, well, you're hoping the rain's going to hold off and they can practice outside because, if you got to go inside at the bubble at NovaCare with 90 players, that gets tight and you don't get as much accomplished. So hopefully the weather can hold up and they're able to practice outside. We'll see how that shakes out. But obviously Baltimore coming up on Friday, season opener, greatest streak in the history of sports. Eagles will try to stop it for the second consecutive year. The most random thing ever, I think there are 24 consecutive preseason wins, which is insane because you're not even trying to win these games. But for some reason, Baltimore, very good team, and that's the thing. You're not going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson and all that, obviously, but very good depth on that team, and it'll enable you to evaluate some of these positions. We're talking about the depth chart. The more I mull over it overnight, the more I think at some point this season, you might see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. on the field. I don't think it's going to be week 1, but I think that was telling. It's the PR department, but the coaches see it.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to push back on something dramatically, they would. That is something that caught my eye, obviously. And, we've talked about linebackers probably too much, but And I'm very excited for the New Orleans Saints. Get the deal done. The Saints, Justin Simmons is going to visit the Saints today. And obviously, you know, he's going down there as a tryout. It's not really a tryout. It's to see if they can work out a deal from a financial perspective. And hopefully it gets done just so I never have to talk about Justin coming to the Eagles.
Yeah, I saw that, John. We'll see what they end up doing, but a lot of excitement about Trotter. I just talked about that a little bit before you got up. Hopefully, he is a guy that can contribute. You know, I wanted to temper the expectations on him, as we talked about, with the big name, and you know, you don't want to shadow somebody's career because their father was who he was, and he was a 5th-round pick. But it sounds like he's looked pretty good out there. Looks almost NFL ready. Maybe not that level, but you know, at least he's an instinctive player. He doesn't look out of place. Looks pretty solid right now for a 5th-round pick, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's gotten first-team reps. I'm with you. I thought it was unfair. The days after the draft, everybody was so excited about the 5th-round picks, and he was a big part of it because of his father. And I always think it's unfair to expect that much of day 3 picks right off the bat. Occasionally, you know, you can point to the Puka Nakuas of the world, but it doesn't happen that often. In the case of Trotter, he's slowly worked his way up, and he's getting the occasional first-team rep. Now, it hasn't been close to what Devin White is getting, or what Zach Bond is getting, or even what Nakobe Dean is getting. And Ben Sumrin's ahead of him if you're just going to count the first-team reps. So, you know, he's number 5 on that list, but I think the depth chart reveals that they think he's a player, and they think he has a chance to help at some point this season.
I agree. So we'll see what they're able to do today. John, day 10 of practice. Will today be you think today will be a green practice, a yellow? How do they normally handle it going into a game on Friday?
Well, they have a walkthrough tomorrow, so that's where you kind of scale back. I
Right.
assume it's going to be a green practice, but you never know with Nick. And it's and I shouldn't say Nick because it's more of an organizational decision, and they have been going pretty hard. So you have both ends of the spectrum. You have 4 consecutive practices, and this is number 4. So if you told me beforehand, I would say, well, this is probably going to be pretty light. But you know, they went with a yellow practice yesterday, so maybe that changes their thought process. I do think, you know, part of it is they're trying to make Vic Fangio as happy as possible and try to get as much preparation, and Kellen Moore to a lesser extent, and doing as much as possible under certain limitations that the medical staff and the sports science people have. So it's more of an organizational decision, but normally I would say Eagles 4th of 4 practices. Well, first I'd be shocked that they had 4 consecutive practices. So this is the biggest grind you're going to see in the modern era of Eagles football. I would say, well, they're definitely going to scale back, but I can see it both ways because you're going to have the walkthrough tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll see what they end up doing today. If they go inside, John, that must. How does that work for you guys as reporters? Are you able to see as much, or is it tight space? It must be tight space with 90 players out there as well, right?
Yeah, well, it's extremely tight space. It's extremely tight with 53 players in the practice squad. So you never want to go in there in training camp, and you hope the weather holds. And I'm still in South Jersey now. It's actually the sun was out, which surprised me for a little bit. So maybe it'll hold off, and they can get the practice in outside. Things can change dramatically in 15 miles or so. So, yeah, that's a wait and see thing. But yeah, they don't want to go inside, and it generally for reporters they'll scale back. They won't have as many. They have sort of season credentials for the NovaCare complex, and generally those reporters that have those can go and they generally scale back on the day-to-day people. So, yeah, but it's never good. Nobody wants to be in there. Nobody wants to be in there to practice on the turf either. I mean, players can't stand the turf, especially the older players. So, yeah, the hope is always that the weather holds out, and they can practice in light rain, obviously, and they will. But if it gets too harsh, obviously they have to go inside.
What's the weather like right now as you're driving down?
Yeah, it's fine right now. It's holding off. I said the sun peeked out for a little bit. It's back.
Yeah, it's raining where I am.
Yeah, it's back behind the clouds now. So, yeah, it's hit and miss basically where you are in the Delaware Valley. But I'm pretty close to the NovaCare complex, probably about 10 miles away right now. So, and it's holding up here. Doesn't mean it's holding up there.
Yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening at camp today. John, another good day yesterday for the offense, but a lot of blitzing yesterday. We talked about it last night on our show. I thought last night we had a great show on Birds 365 with the depth chart talk and the defensive breakdown and everything. But what are we expecting, today? Will it be, full bore go? Are you getting ready for a game? Do you play backups because you got to get them ready for a game on Friday? Like, how do you handle going into a preseason game when you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're probably not going to play many people? A lot of people are talking about them playing more starters in the game. I don't anticipate that. I don't know where you are on that spectrum. You hear Vic Fangio saying he wants guys to play, but I don't know if they're going to do that or not. How do you handle that?
If they do play starters, it'll be a series or two. It won't be anything dramatic. Nobody prepares for preseason games. There's no game planning. It's just like another practice session, just with real, you're cosplaying a real football game, and you're dressing up and you're getting everything ready. And there are important parts as far as Nick talks about the operation of the coaching staff and the communication on game day. That's very important. So that's where you can kind of nail that stuff down in a better fashion. But yeah, nobody's preparing to play a preseason game. Maybe the Ravens are because they win everyone. But I'm
not preparing. I just don't know, because if you're not going to play a lot of your starters, you need a lot of guys on the back. Like talk Shaquille Quarterman. Just people like that who are going to play, and it's like, okay, this is what you're going to have to do when you're out there. I don't know. Maybe there is some of that. Maybe there is none of that. But do you expect starters to play, John, at all on Friday?
I think you might see a series or two defensively.
Even from like Jalen Hurts. I don't know, John. I don't see Jalen Hurts or AJ Brown being out there. I just don't.
No, I think the offense, I said that earlier, I think the offense is different than the defense.
Yeah, me too.
You have to understand with Jalen Hurts, if he's out there, everybody's got to be out there. So, specifically the offensive line. You're not putting him out there behind backup offensive linemen. So that means Lane Johnson's got to be out there, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Cam Jurgens. And 3 of the 4 have been dealing with certain things. Lane, a toe, Landon, a toe and a knee. Cam's been either sick or something revolving around the NovaCare complex. So, a lot of it depends on the other players as well. Defensively, I think they need to work, number one. And Vic's still trying to figure out what he has. So it's a little bit more important for the defense than the offense. So I think you could see a piecemeal approach. If you see Jalen for a series, it wouldn't surprise me because of the changes of what they're trying to do and preparing a little bit more and practicing a little bit more of what we just talked about. But if you see him, it's going to be very small. It's just going to be a series, basically. And, hopefully it's a touchdown series and you get to see 7 or 8 plays. But if it's a 3 and out, that's probably it. So if you do want to see him, you better sit down with the sandwich and the drink quickly because it ain't going to be long.
Yeah, you better get down there early, because that's going to be the best series of the game with that first one. I'm interested to see the whole QB2 thing, John. I don't expect Tanner McKee to play above Kenny Pickett, but you have heard some rumblings. He's getting runs to two. Kellen Moore kind of put it to bed, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what Tanner McKee can do. I think they're both going to have a good amount of time to play out there in the preseason game, both Pickett and McKee. What do you think from those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, the preseason is Tanner McKee's time to shine. I mean,
Yeah, baby. Tanner McKee season.
He's going to get tons of work in the preseason. And he is getting more reps, but he's not pushing Kenny Pickett to be the backup quarterback. That's going to be Kenny. And the Eagles like Tanner McKee. And the preseason, you're going to see, and I just hope that you don't see Will Greer. I hope we see more Tanner McKee and he finishes games and, might even give him the whole third game, things like that, and to continue that development. But, yeah, I some people have brought up that, and he might even deserve the opportunity for more second-team reps because he's looked more impressive with his reps than Kenny, at least throwing the football. Kenny's a sneaky good athlete. I think people will be surprised. The quarterback run game's still in effect when he's in the game. Not to the level of Jalen Hurts, but he's sneaky good at it.
Obviously not, yeah.
But with Tanner, I mean, he's not pushing Kenny Pickett in the Eagles' eyes. So it's one of those things where, all right, you might say he deserves a few more reps, and you might even be right. But if you're trying to push that narrative that he's pushing Kenny Pickett, I would say that's incorrect.
Got it. Good report there from John. We'll see what they're able to do. How long? I guess. What is Kenny Pickett? I mean, how long is he going to be here? Does he have 2 years left on his deal or 1 year left? I don't know how many years he played in Pittsburgh.
He's got 2 years left, and he's a first round pick, so he's got a 5th-year option.
Which I don't anticipate the Eagles will be picking up.
No. I mean, the whole point of trading for him was to get a cost-effective backup for more than 1 year, and then you revisit at that time. Hopefully, from Kenny's perspective, he wants to get a chance to play. You never want to see the quarterback injured. He wants to show enough to where somebody will give him a chance to be a starter again down the line. From the Eagles' perspective, you saw how expensive it was to get Marcus Mariota. It's getting more and more expensive to get a competent veteran backup quarterback. So to get one on his rookie deal was a solid business decision.
Yeah.
And it's similar to what they did, lesser degree, but when they traded Gardner Minshew for Gardner Minshew, that was their thought process there as well. And yeah, I mean, you always want to be cost effective if you can be cost effective, because that means you can earmark money to other spots.
Yeah, good stuff, John. Got to welcome in, John. We got a new member, Prince Swayze. You know what that means, John? That means Prince is officially eligible for our Saquon Barkley jersey giveaways, which will start in week 1 of the NFL season. Every time Saquon eclipses 125 all-purpose yards or yards from scrimmage, rushing, receiving, or kickoff, if he's going to get kickoff yards. Anytime he's got more than 125.
He's not getting kickoffs. But
I know he's not. I'm just putting it in there because Jeff Kerr had to correct me. So now I'm putting it in there. If he gets kickoff yardage, we'll count that too, just in case the Eagles try and switch it up one week. But now, Prince, you are eligible. Thank you, Joe, for joining, Prince. We appreciate you being a member here on the channel. The financial support is very appreciated, so thank you for doing that. Johnny Mac, any other things you're looking for as you go down there, day 10, last practice before the preseason game?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw the Tim McManus, Jeremy Fowler reports this morning from ESPN, everybody should go check it out. A really in-depth look of what went wrong last season. Some interesting tidbits in there about Jalen Hurts contacting Wink Martindale late in the season to figure out what the hell was going on. after Wink moved on from the Giants. And I'm going over the wall whipping if you lose me.
Yeah.
Good job by my buddy Timmy Mack, but everybody should check it out. It gives a better sort of look at what went wrong with the disconnect between Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, good stuff, John. Thanks for joining this morning, brother. We appreciate you doing it from the car. Get down there safely to NovaCare practice. Hopefully you can stay dry, stay warm, stay cool down there. I don't know how. It's probably going to be pretty warm, but maybe the rain
It's still
will cool
humid.
off.
It's still
Yeah,
humid. It's not as hot, but still very humid.
All right, John. Thanks for joining, brother. I'll talk to you later on tonight, Birds 365, 6 to 8 p.m. Talk to you then. All right, man.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
All right, thanks, Johnny Mac. There's John McMullen joining live from the car as he heads down to NovaCare Complex. Good stuff from John to get his update on where we are and what's going on into the preseason game. I don't anticipate starters playing, but he did bring up a good point about the defense, and maybe they'll get a series. I don't know. I don't think so. But anyway, I gotta get out of here a little early this morning. I'm gonna take a couple questions from the chat. I had a very busy day yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to do my midday football 24/7. I was not in the house. I didn't even produce Cilio yesterday. I had a very busy day out of the studio, so I was not able to do that. I will be doing that today. I'm back in the studio. I'm able to do our midday football 24/7, so I will do a recap of practice after. If you were looking for that, I'm sorry for not being there. I did promote it in the morning. I didn't anticipate being out of the house all day, but I was out until literally 5:40 when Birds 365 was going live at 6. So I will be back for that today, football 24/7 midday. And I'm excited to do that. We'll see what they do with the day 10, fourth day in a row here. So good stuff. Let's go to a couple chat comments. Appreciate all you guys being here. Make sure you guys hit that like. Paul Mancini. This isn't a question, but a comment. Paul says, what went wrong in 2023 is the Eagles players never held themselves accountable as a team from top to bottom. So much for all that veteran leadership from Kelsey, Cox, etc. I think it's a good take. I think that's fair, and that's why I think it's funny when people we talk about I do it too. You talk about the veteran leadership that's gone, where it's like, all right, well, what did the veteran leadership do for us last year when we went down a skid? So it's like, how important really is that, to do or to have, and is it overrated? So good point by Paul. I don't think, it matters as much as we make it out to be. You got to play the games. You got to hold yourselves accountable, like Paul said. So we'll see what happens this year. Callie says, I was looking for it, Xander. My bad, Callie. I was out and I was going to put up a post, but my phone, I didn't even have my phone with me when I got out of the car. It was a nightmare. I was battling yesterday, boys. I didn't have my finest day yesterday. Busy running around. Was not able to do it. I will be back today. Eduardo says 12 or 12:30. I'm going to say 12:30 today, Eduardo. So we'll do 12:30 to 1-ish. 12:30 is when I'll be live. They've been ending practice a little bit later. I like to listen to the player press conferences. So I'll say 12:30 today for the recap. Today, I see you commented again. So 12:30 we'll do today. So make sure you guys are tuned in at 12:30. Crowley checks in. Good morning, Crowley. What's up, man? Hope you are doing well this Wednesday morning. Hope everybody's having a great summer, by the way. August 7th, man. It's cruising right along. I know we're all excited for the football season. I don't know about you guys. Summer is one of my favorite times of the year. Not because there's no football, but because it's just a beautiful time. I love the weather. I love the ocean. I love summertime, and I love being with family. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic summer. Appreciate you all spending some time with me. A lot of you have spent a lot of time with me, and I appreciate each and every one of those minutes. I know our time is finite, so when you spend it with me, it doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate it. Even if you're not a fan, I appreciate you being here and watching and checking in and sharing your thoughts. We try and keep an open board, and Jacob, for anybody that wants to share their thoughts, whether it's good, bad, pretty, ugly, doesn't matter. As long as you're respectful and you're not being racist or whatever you might be in the chat that could get you banned. If you're of a different football opinion, that will never get you banned. So we appreciate all of you guys, and we appreciate the different variation of viewers that we have. We have some Commander fans. James Jones, if you're in here, I see you, brother. James Jones is back. We have some 49er fans. We got some Cowboy fans. So we got a lot of people. We appreciate all you guys. Crawley says, honestly, I think Bond will be used in certain looks and Dean will be used in certain looks. I'm not high on either of them, though. Yeah, I think you're right, Crawley, because Fangio is going to go to different looks, obviously, in different moments. You've heard it. He's had the 6-man front, the wide 6. I think Cilio called it. He's had one linebacker on the field, 2 linebackers on the field. He's had 3 safeties on the field. So he's got a lot of different looks, and you might be right. Maybe they will get Dean and Vaughn out there in different times, but I don't know. Dean has not been starting at all through one practice, so I don't know if they're high on him or I think the Eagles are high on him, but I'm not sure if Vic Fangio likes him very much. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. Xander, as long as people aren't like what Philly 500 calls them, dingbats. I kind of love that. I kind of love the dingbat thing. Dingbat Nation. I think I need a better phrase for what it means to be a member on JAKIB Sports. Any members, if you have a take, James and Prince, our newest member today, Prince, we got to come up with something better than JAKIB Sports Superfan. What should we call our membership? James, you're knocking dingbats. That's pretty epic. You're talking about it here. That's how you know. It's got a ring to it. The Dingbat Nation. I love Philly 500. He's a great guy. Love when he comes on our channel and on the National Football Show. Hopefully I can get him maybe at one time, on one of these shows where it's just me and him chopping it up. Big fan of Philly 500. He does great work on YouTube as well as all the other YouTubers. Oh, by the way, good. As I'm talking about that, tomorrow on Birds 365. So tonight we have 6 to 8 p.m. Again, it's a nightcap edition. Tomorrow we go back to our 8 to 10 a.m. spot, Birds 365. Well, we have a special guest tomorrow. Josh Davis, who is the host of the Philly Special channel, a great YouTube channel. He does phenomenal work on YouTube, both him and his buddy Thomas Mott. But we'll have Josh Davis on 9:20 a.m. tomorrow on Birds 365. Looking forward to having Josh on, a different perspective than what we normally get with beat writers and stuff like that. So I'm kind of looking to expand that on the show here. With Birds 365 coming out of the Jody Mack era. It's been me now for the last couple of months. It's going to be me moving forward. So I want to bring a different element to the show. I don't just want to keep it as it is. I want to add things and, get new people, new guests and a different perspective. And, you don't want to live always with all, I think the old guys have a good take and a good perspective, but sometimes it's nice to hear from a younger, different demographic of people, who have different takes and different opinions. So that's good stuff. I'm excited to talk to Josh Davis, the Philly Special Show, the host of the Philly Special Show. He'll be on tomorrow. Paul Mancini says, is Lord Brunson still around? I think so. Lord Brunson does not like JAKIB because I guess he just disagrees with Cilio on football, which is interesting. We had him on a couple times. I got a lot of respect for Lord Brunson. No issues with him, but he doesn't come on anymore. He doesn't return the JAKIB text because I guess he just doesn't like Dan Cilio. So I'm not really sure why he wouldn't come on. Like I said, we talk football. I don't get why people care so much if somebody has a different football opinion than you. Like, I'm a fan of the team, but it doesn't bother me when someone's like, oh, I think your defense sucks. I'm like, okay, good. That's your opinion. We'll see what they do when the games are being played. I don't understand why people get so upset when somebody just doesn't agree with your foot. It's football, guys. It's all good. It's all good. We're talking football. Jeff Martin says soft people, no doubt about it. Shonuff says, got to get Joey Shakes on. I'd love to get Shakes on. I remember we had the little drama with Joey Shakes. It wasn't with me. It was with Cilio, but he called out Cilio. But here's what I don't like. Here's what I don't like about him, Shonuff. And I have no problem with the person, but here's what I don't like about that altercation. He insinuated Dan Cilio is a racist, awful person because he was critical of something I don't even remember what the topic was. I really don't. But what is up with that? Like, I know Cilio very well. I know him on a much deeper level than just the show. We talk off air. We are friends. Dan Cilio, you might hate him. You might hate his takes. You might hate how abrasive he is. He is not a racist human being. I can 100% promise you. And for Joey Shakes to go and say that and say he's got I forget what he says, a Confederate flag hanging off his back porch. I'm like, listen, come on, Sean. If you come on, not you, showed off Joey Shakes. If you want to criticize him for his football takes, great. I think that's good content. If you want to go back at him and debate him and all, awesome, no problem with it. But to say that, I was, I kind of lost some respect. That's all. I thought that was low. I would never say that about somebody I don't know, and I thought that was not cool. I would be willing to have a conversation with Joey Shakes. I'm not like, hey, put him on the chopping block and never and shun him. I'm not in that perspective, but I will say that bothered me a little bit when I went and listened to his clip, and I'm like, you're going to broadcast to your people because Silio doesn't agree with you on the Eagles that he has a Confederate flag hanging from his back porch and he's this racist dude. I thought that was BS, and that definitely rubbed me the wrong way. Look at this. Look at Eduardo though, moving in another member, 2 members on the show today, boys. I love it. Boys and girls, I'm sure we might have some women watching too. Appreciate all you women out there who watch and enjoy our content. So for those who don't know, I think everybody might know by now that's in here. We're giving away Saquon Barkley jerseys this year. Every time he goes over 125, we're going to give away one to a member. So Eduardo, add our newest member, and Prince, our newest member. So 2 new members on the show today. I pinned the link there in the chat. I'll start to do that more because it seems like people have, YouTube. I don't know why they make it so hard to find the dang join button, but they do. So good stuff, Eduardo. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. You're one of our most loyal viewers. I love your comments, as always. I love many of your comments, but Eduardo, thank you for becoming a member, brother. We appreciate that. Sean Mims gives us a $5 super sticker. It looks like. Sean, thank you, brother. We appreciate you. We appreciate your contributions. I know you're a big Silio fan as well, Sean. So thank you for being here, man. We appreciate it. Good stuff. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Appreciate all you. Prince drops a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Facts, this is the only channel where you can interact with the host. I go back and forth with Sills and still have respect. Absolutely, Prince. That's one of my favorite parts about the channel. And I think I even took a shot at you the other day, Prince, where I forget what it was. So we talk so much on here. I forget what it was, but I think I remember taking a little shot at you, Prince. But good stuff, Prince. But that's very true, and that's why we try and keep it open, man. We try and make sure everybody, like I said, as long as you're being respectful, as long as you're not being a racist asshole or any of the things that there's no reason to tolerate. If you're talking football and you're disagreeing on football or whatever it is, it's an open space. It's an open area. You can disagree with the host. You can disagree with us. You can disagree with people in the chat. It's all good. So thanks for sending that super chat, Prince. We appreciate it. And thanks for becoming a member. We appreciate that as much. Good stuff. We appreciate all you guys. A couple people saying, let me get on as a guest. I'd love to try and do that. I wouldn't do it on Birds 365, but maybe I launch a show, as we get closer to the year here, like an hour show midday. And we can bring on some of you guys. I'd love to talk to some of you guys. The problem with it is it's hard to vet. Not that anybody who is our normal, I would love to bring you up. The problem is I don't know, people can use different names. Like if I just drop the link, people, will join in, and hopefully, I guess it doesn't matter. I could just remove somebody if they're not, willing to contribute real to the show. But I think that would be fun. I'd like to talk to some people. Definitely, Paul Mancini's in here. He's a guy I'd like to talk to. He seems to be a good football mind, at least understands the game on a deeper level. Eduardo's a newest member on the channel. We'll talk to Eduardo. I'd love to do a lot. So maybe we'll add some of that stuff. Appreciate all you guys being here. Chan says Sills is too negative about the team. There's already enough of it in Negadelphia, which is why I don't tune in. Chan, I don't think there's that much of it on YouTube. I mean, if you look around on YouTube, there's a lot of people glazing the Eagles. Look, that's cool too. I'm a fan, so I don't mind when people are talking the team up. But Sills is the only one I see on YouTube. And I go on everybody's channel. He's really the only one outside of like Cowboys YouTubers and 49ers YouTubers. But there's a lot of people that talk up this football team, which, you don't want to create an echo chamber. You never want to create an echo chamber. And I think in anything in life, right? I mean, I was talking to somebody about JAKIB and just the business that I'm building here. And he gave me a completely different outside perspective. And I'm like, that's that's so nice. It's so good to hear somebody that's not in the echo chamber, or that's not me, or my father who I run the business with, or one of our hosts or one of our viewers. It's great. I think having an echo chamber in anything in life is a bad thing. And when you get outside perspectives, you don't always have to agree with it, but I think it adds perspective, and it adds context, and where you can take it or you cannot, but at least you thought about it, which forces your mind to expand. And I think that's a good thing. James Carver with a super chat. Thank you, brother. $5. Appreciate all you guys, man. A lot of super chats, a couple members joining today. Thank you guys. I can't thank you enough for joining me, spending some time with me. It's good stuff, and I appreciate all of you. James Carver says, it's the iPhone people. Got to use Safari to go to JAKIB homepage, and then you can join. It's an Apple problem. And remember, a membership is not a cult. No, it's not a cult. It's basically just showing that you support the channel, and you want to drop in $5 a month. It's really appreciated. You get the emojis. I'm adding more emojis. So if you're a member and you want certain emojis, send one. I think I saw someone say they want a Dallas sucks emoji. That's a great emoji. So I want to add more emojis that you can put in the chat. I don't know if you guys like them or not, but I will do it. And then obviously the Saquon jerseys that we're giving away will be added too. Jameer Banks says, y'all perspective sucks. Thanks for being here, Jameer. Appreciate you, brother. Here's Paul Mancini. I'd love to join you, Xander, on a segment. Let's plan something. Let's do it, Paul. Maybe I'll do that show, where I do an hour show and we talk to the fans of JAKIB Sports day in and day out. Because remember, it's fun to talk now. It's also fun to talk when the season's going on. Imagine talking last year when they were collapsing. We could have had some good conversation there. So maybe I'll definitely do that, Paul. It's going to be probably a Xander only show where I host the show. Because I don't, John, I don't think it would be the right show to bring it up with John. Obviously, that's got its own type of show. Cilio maybe could do it here and there, but he has his own ways too. So I think that would be fun to bring it on and kind of have the fan show. I don't know what I could call it. If you guys have any name suggestions, give me a name suggestion and I will do it. I don't know what Finis Casby's crying about in the chat. Prince says, put a stop it. I will put a stop it emoji. That's a good one. Good stuff there. Madness, I'd love to join as a guest. Madness, by the way, I saw what you sent me. I appreciate that. I got to answer you. I was off the Instagram and stuff on the weekend, but I got to answer you. There's one reason I can't use that, and I will respond to you so you know why that is. Sorry for not getting back to you right away, brother. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks for being here. Make sure you like the show. We'll be back again at 12:30. Joe Whip says, I can come on. I am handsome. I'm sure you are, Joe. We'll get you up as well. So good stuff there. Thanks, everybody, for joining today. Thanks to our 2 new members. Eduardo Reza becomes a YouTube member. Thank you, Eduardo. Prince becomes a YouTube member. Thank you, Prince. And our 3 super chatters, Prince, James Carver, and Sean Mims. Thank you all for those contributions. We appreciate that. Fan speak. I like that. That's a good one. Sean Mims, a third member today. Sean, thank you, brother. 3 members added on the show today. Thank you guys for becoming a member. You will all be eligible for the Saquon Barkley jersey giveaway. So thank you very much for the support. We appreciate that. Hit that like button on your way out, everybody. And we will see you at 12:30 on Football 24/7. And then Birds 365 tonight, 6 to 8 p.m. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
EAGLES Eagles.